Hi, and welcome to Carolina Varsity's 2013 look at the NCHSAA 4AA playoffs. I'm Dale Ross.
I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow.
Matt will take a first look at number 4 Butler, 10-3, defending state champions. And as I said 2 weeks ago, now they're on the road to defending their state championship, and they are on the road. They're going up to play number 1 West Forsyth, 12-1. I think we got our gripes about why they are number 1. They should be number 2, I think. But regardless, Hokie has Butler winning this ball game by 3, and that's his computer. That's not a personal pick, and his computer's been fairly accurate. But there's probably a 20% chance he's wrong on the winner. Butler defeated Independence in a ball game that you attended last week, 46-39. You want to say anything about the ball game?
Well, you got two real good offenses going head to head. They played a couple weeks ago. It was a rematch, and they didn't really change too much. Independence jumped up 13-0, and Butler came back with 26 unanswered points. And after that, the teams just kind of traded scores for the rest of the game. The difference was Butler was just able to make one stop. Keep that 7-point buffer.
Right.
And, the Butler offense is on fire right now.
I think we expected it to be a close ball game, and we kind of said we thought maybe the factor might be the playing a good team twice and the loser, but apparently Independence came out on the short end of the stick again. Still another high-scoring ball game. West Forsyth had a little bit tougher time, not tougher, still a one-score ball game, lower scoring, over rival East Forsyth 22-16. So you got a high-powered offense going in to play a pretty good defensive team.
Yeah, and in that game you mentioned, West Forsyth was down 16-7 and came back to beat their rival, who beat them earlier in the season and gave them their only loss.
Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and start with the game points.
Okay. Well, I think for West Forsyth, they're going to have to, try to keep Butler off balance. They're a run-first team. And, Butler had some trouble with Mount Tabor, obviously, earlier this year from that area, and they lost to them. And Mount Tabor was a run-first team, so, that they have some of the formula that can give Butler some problems. But they're going to have to be varied in their running game. You can't just line up and try to pound right at Butler because, they still have some talent in that defense. And that's something that will make things easier for them. If they mix up their running game with some misdirection type stuff and keep them off balance, that's the best way you can get some things on Butler if you're a run-first team. They've had trouble with dual threat quarterbacks, obviously, with Hopkins last week, who's a very good quarterback and was able to run for over 100 and threw for over 300. West Forsyth is playing with a sophomore who is a dual threat type, but I don't think he's on the level of Kelvin Hopkins. And that's not their offensive game either. So if they're able to run him, though, and get him outside and, just mix it up and give him some bootlegs or, zone read type stuff, that can give Butler some trouble. And defensively, they got to keep Ratliff in the pocket. And it's easier said than done. But West Forsyth has some very good defensive players, especially at defensive end and linebacker. And they've got to be able to tackle well in space. Going against that Butler spread look, they're going to get their athletes in space. That's the way they scheme. Coach Hales does a really good job with that. And if, in the back end, if West Forsyth has trouble tackling, it could be a long night. I think for Butler, you got to play your game offensively. You got to spread them out. You go no huddle, get into your read option stuff, your empty packages and all that. Make West Forsyth dictate to your tempo. I think you go up there, you go no huddle, you go high tempo, you let Ratliff make some plays and be the great dual threat quarterback he's been the past few weeks. The only thing, though, is up front, Independence was able to get home a couple of times on Ratliff, but they couldn't bring him down. So their offensive line, especially at tackles, got to be able to hold up in pass protection, and I think that's where West Forsyth can give Butler some problems getting that pass rush. I think defensively, it's obvious Butler's got to be able to stop the run first and foremost. They're going to have to rally to the football and make game tackles. And, if they get up in front on West Forsyth and make them play from behind, now East Forsyth is only up by 9. But I think if you get up on 2 scores or more on this West Forsyth team, you're going to take them out of their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And you're going to force them to throw the ball. And, obviously that's not what they want to do. And anytime you take a team out of what they want to do, then you've got a good shot at winning. But on paper, it's going to be a good matchup. But, the Butler offense has just been phenomenal here lately. And,
right.
West Forsyth is not a real dynamic offensive team. They lean on their defense. So, you got a hot defense against a really good defense. Hot offense, against a really good defense. And right now, I don't pick them until Friday. But, Hokies prediction Butler by 3. I think it will be a close game, definitely. And we'll see on Friday what I go with.
Okay, I'm just going to add, I think that for West Forsyth to really have a shot at scoring this ball game, the place to beat Butler is in the air. I think if you can challenge that secondary, you've got some speed to get behind them. That's one of the places that West Forsyth is going to have to find some offense, I believe, is against that pass defense of Butler. You can run against Butler, but I think if you're too much one-dimensional, Butler's got enough skill and coaching talent to be able to load the box on you, maybe put a soft zone up,
right.
And then manage that run attack.
Exactly.
So West Forsyth's going to, in my opinion, going to have to be a little bit varied on offense.
It might be one of those games where you come out, if you're a run-first team, you come out throwing.
Right.
To try to loosen up the box and then open up your run game. I think West Forsyth may have to buck their trend a little bit early on just to try to establish, something different offensively to keep Butler off balance.
Right, and then of course Butler is, and that read option has been very successful for them, and I think will buy them some opportunities through the air as well.
Right.
Because people do have to respect Rattler's feet. And if LeMay is having a good, if LeMay gets on at all, then of course you got that run threat to worry about as well. So, I look for Butler to probably have some big success through the air off of that read option. They're going to need to. I think if Butler can get out, they're on the road. So far this year, their history on the road has not been good.
They're hot and cold.
They're hot and cold, and the Mount Tabor game was certainly. But the Mount Tabor game was a game that they got down in, but they didn't win it, but they came back. So I think it could be I think it's going to be a close ball game when all is said and done. It's really going to come to, can that West Forsyth defense hold Butler down into the 20s?
That is the key. I totally agree.
If Butler, in my opinion, Butler gets to 28 to 30 points, the game's over, I think.
And let me say this, with Butler all season long, this kicking game has been hit or miss. If it's a close game, I tell you, man, I don't know much about West Forsyth special teams, but Butler's got to work on that kicking game, especially these extra points. And if they ever needed a field goal, do they have the confidence in that kicking game to get it done?
Right. So special teams could be very important.
Right.
So you guys should have a good ball game. West Forsyth's going to get not see the Butler team of last year, but a pretty good ball team nonetheless. So you guys enjoy your ball game. Thanks.